Fresenius Renal Technologies is the world's largest provider of products for people affected by chronic kidney failure. As a worldwide leader, we are committed to raising the standards of hemodialysis by continuing to develop innovative dialysis products that improve the quality and convenience of this therapy. During hemodialysis, monitoring critical blood parameters such as hematocrit, blood volume percent change, and oxygen saturation can help to limit common intradialytic symptoms such as dizziness, cramping, and vomiting. CritLine 4 technology continuously and non-invasively measures these parameters, allowing clinicians to intervene to help limit common intradialytic symptoms. This video is intended to show you how to set up your CritLine 4 monitor and how to interpret common profile screens. During this presentation, you will learn important functions associated with the setup of the monitor, how to initiate treatment and setting event markers, and perform refill checks, as well as the key information displayed on the CritLine 4 monitor. The CritLine 4 is designed to mount on any standard IV pole. To attach the CritLine monitor to the IV pole, open the pole mount clamp by turning the knob counterclockwise. Secure the pole mount clamp to the narrower top portion of the IV pole and turn the knob on the clamp clockwise to tighten. The pole mount clamp should rest comfortably above the large black IV pole fitting. Do not place the pole mount clamp above the IV pole release grip. Do not place the CritLine 4 monitor on top of the hemodialysis machine. Locate the USB ports on the bottom of the monitor. Gently insert the USB connector of the sensor clip into one of the USB ports. Locate the verification filter clip on the sensor clip. Attach the verification filter to the IV pole by grasping the hard gray plastic clip portion of the verification filter and gently pushing it onto the IV pole. The verification filter clip will snap into place. Align the sensor clip onto the verification filter. The sensor clip is now connected. If you plan to use the optional wireless printing and data transfer option, attach the Zigbee radio on the bottom of the CritLine 4 monitor by gently inserting the Zigbee radio USB connector into an available USB port. Printer software version 1.6 or higher must be used with the Zigbee radios. Insert the power supply adapter into the pole clamp with the attached cable facing upward. Connect the universal power supply cord to the power supply adapter and insert the power supply plug into the power connector jack on the bottom of the CritLine 4 monitor. Plug the other end of the power cord into a grounded outlet. Turn the monitor on by pushing the toggle switch on the bottom left of the monitor. The green indicator light above the screen should illuminate. A power-up sequence will then display. The monitor will chime when the main menu appears. When you turn the CritLine 4 monitor on, you will see the main menu. Here, you can access the Setup menu, verify accuracy, view the previous 30 days of treatment history for specific patients, or see system information about the monitor. Press the Setup button to access the Setup menu. Here, you can enter the date, time, station ID, set the language, or change monitor volume. The Setup menu also allows you to select the output and printer ports as either the Zigbee radio for wireless printing or the COM1 9-pin cable port. Pressing any of these selections will bring up the appropriate pop-up box. Follow the screen prompts as needed. Press OK to confirm your selection or cancel to return to the setup menu at any time. Auto Run is a CritLine 4 monitor feature that automatically starts the patient treatment monitoring when the sensor clip senses blood in the blood chamber. The patient treatment monitoring automatically stops when the sensor clip no longer senses blood for an extended period of time. Press the Auto Run button to turn this feature on or off. There are certain advantages and disadvantages to using the Auto Run feature, so please discuss the use of this feature with your trainer. Press Return to go back to the main menu. On the main menu screen, the sensor clip status indicator at the lower right corner of the screen will display the operational status of the sensor clip. There are 5 possible states. The green background indicates that the sensor clip has passed a verification of accuracy and is operating normally. The clip is shown attached to the verification filter to indicate that the sensor clip detects the verification filter. The green background indicates that the sensor clip has passed a verification of accuracy and is operating normally. The clip is shown without the verification filter to indicate that the sensor clip does not detect the verification filter. The orange background indicates that the sensor clip has not passed a verification of accuracy and is not ready for use. The sensor clip is shown attached to the verification filter to indicate that the clip detects the verification filter. The orange background indicates that the clip device has not passed a verification of accuracy and is not ready for use. The clip device is shown without the verification filter to indicate that the sensor clip does not detect the verification filter. The blue background and red no symbol indicates that the sensor clip is not plugged into the USB port on the bottom of the CritLine 4 monitor. When the sensor clip is stored on the verification between treatment days, the CritLine 4 monitor will automatically perform a verification of accuracy each day when the monitor is turned on. If manual verification is needed, press the Verify Accuracy button on the main menu screen. If prompted, enter the 4-digit filter ID located on the verification filter. And press Save. If Verified Pass is displayed, choose OK to return to the main menu screen. Follow the screen prompts if the verification has failed to ensure the filter is clean and the sensor clip is properly attached. Then, repeat the verification. The user cannot access the Patient Run menu screen until a successful verification has taken place. The CritLine 4 monitor utilizes a sensor clip which is placed on a blood chamber that is attached to the dialyzer. Proper alignment of the blood chamber and placement of the sensor clip is essential to obtain accurate readings. Do not use the CritLine blood chamber if its package has been opened or sterility has otherwise been compromised prior to use. The viewing area of the blood chamber should be kept clean and free of obstruction. During setup of the extracorporeal circuit, aseptically attach the blood chamber to the arterial end of the dialyzer by removing the cap from the arterial header of the dialyzer and the red cap from the blood chamber. While holding the blood chamber securely in one hand, aseptically attach the blood chamber to the arterial end of the dialyzer. Make sure the connection is tight without using excessive force. Be careful that you do not cross-thread the connection. You are now ready to attach the other end of the blood chamber to the arterial bloodline. If your organization is using Combiset SmartTech bloodlines, follow your facility's procedure when preparing bloodlines and partially insert the blood chamber into the arterial port of the dialyzer. Gently twist the blood chamber counterclockwise until it drops into place. It is important to make sure the blood chamber drops into place before tightening. You should be able to see and feel the blood chamber drop into the dialyzer connection. After the blood chamber drops into place, twist clockwise by using the blood chamber wings to tighten the connection. Make sure the connection is tight without using excessive force. Continue with bloodline setup per your facility protocol. Ensure that no air is in the crit-line blood chamber after priming. Any air present in the chamber will cause the hematocrit reading to be inaccurate. To prevent air bubbles from entering the blood chamber, ensure that all connections are tight. To detect air bubbles, look at the viewing area of the blood chamber. They will be clearly visible if present. If no air bubbles are present, the entire viewing area of the blood chamber will be filled with fluid. To remove any air bubbles, while holding the blood chamber vertically, gently tap on the chamber until all air bubbles exit the viewing area of the chamber. Once treatment has been initiated and blood has been flowing through the blood chamber for at least 3 minutes, attach the sensor clip to the blood chamber by squeezing both sides of the sensor clip apart. Place the sensor clip over the blood chamber so the optical sensors cover the lens of the blood chamber. You will hear an audible click. To ensure proper alignment, ensure that the sensor clip is perpendicular to the top of the dialyzer. From the main menu, press the Patient Run button. The monitor will then display the Patient Run menu screen. If you want to enter a patient ID, press the Patient ID button and enter a patient ID by selecting the appropriate numbers and/or letters based on clinic preference. Press Save when done. Entering a patient ID is optional and can also be done during a patient treatment by pressing the Menu button and selecting Patient ID. Once the dialysis treatment has been initiated according to clinic policy and blood has been flowing through the blood chamber for at least 5 minutes, press the Start Run button to initiate the treatment on the crit-line 4 monitor. If the sensor clip is still on the verification filter, you will be prompted to place the sensor clip onto the blood chamber and then select Start Run. Graphing of data begins when the sensor clip senses blood and the hematocrit has been stable for 60 seconds. The crit-line 4 monitor will display the patient treatment monitoring screen. The percent blood volume change and oxygen saturation graphs will be displayed by default. To change the percent blood volume graph to the hematocrit graph, choose Menu from the Patient Run menu option and select Hematocrit Graph. Let's review an example of a blood volume graph. The horizontal axis is in 1-hour increments. The screen will rescale if the treatment goes longer than 4 hours. The numbers on the vertical axis represent the percent change in blood volume. Every patient begins at 0%. The row of text directly above the blood volume graph shows data that continuously displays the elapsed time since the start of the treatment, the patient ID if entered, starting hematocrit, and starting hemoglobin. The column immediately to the right of the graph displays the current reading for hematocrit, the current estimated hemoglobin, the cumulative percent change in blood volume, current oxygen saturation, and minimum oxygen saturation since the start of this treatment. These values are updated throughout the treatment. The far right column displays menu buttons available to the user, such as running, paused, markers, or end run. Press the running button to place the crit-line 4 monitor into pause to temporarily stop monitoring of the treatment. This feature may be used when the clinician temporarily interrupts the dialysis treatment or suspects a clotted blood chamber. The sensor clip should remain on the blood chamber during this period. Press pause to resume monitoring. The crit-line 4 monitor has user-adjustable alert levels for blood volume and oxygen saturation alert. The default is set to off for both parameters. When the alert is active, a dotted line appears on the corresponding graph. If the actual reading reaches the alert level, an audible alarm will sound. To set the desired alert level, press the Alert Level button. Then, use the up or down arrows until the desired level is displayed. Press Confirm or Cancel to complete. When the current oxygen saturation percent falls below the set oxygen alert level, the message O2 alert level will display until the oxygen level increases above the alert level the user changes the alert level, or the user turns the alert level off. When the current change in blood volume percent falls below the set blood volume alert level, the message BV alert level will display until the change in blood volume percent increases above the alert level, the user changes the alert level, or the user turns the alert level off. Now, let's review the oxygen saturation graph. This graph indicates the patient's oxygen saturation throughout the treatment. The normal range for arterial oxygen saturation from a fistula or graft is greater than 90%. The normal range for venous oxygen saturation from a venous catheter is between 60% and 80%. If oxygen saturation is too low, the patient may not be tolerating the dialysis treatment well and should be reassessed by a clinician. With the ultrafiltration rate above minimum, a flat or positive profile where the blood volume reduction is less than 3% per hour indicates that the patient's plasma refill rate is occurring at the same or a greater rate than ultrafiltration. This is a profile A. In this example, the patient's current percentage of blood volume reduction is 1.4%. Profile A suggests that the ultrafiltration rate may be increased without immediate risk of intradialytic symptoms. Please note that a profile A might be acceptable in some patients, but not others. Therefore, the clinician should always assess the patient's condition before making any interventions. The CritLine 4 monitor also displays a trending blood volume profile in the form of a letter, A, B, or C, once 15 minutes of data is obtained. The phrase "establishing profile" will be displayed until then. This trending profile letter is based on a rolling average of the previous 15 minutes of data and is not to be used solely when determining a patient's status. More information on how to use this trending blood volume profile letter to assess your patient will be provided by your CritLine trainer. In the example here, the profile begins to decrease gradually starting at 1 hour. A gradual slope where the blood volume reduction is between 3% and 6.5% per hour has been targeted to find the best compromise between a high ultrafiltration rate and the prevention of intradialytic symptoms. In this example, the patient's current percentage of blood volume reduction is 3.72%. The ideal slope is not a fixed percentage of blood volume decrease and will vary from patient to patient. This is considered a profile B. A steep slope where the percentage of blood volume reduction is in excess of 6.5% per hour represents a rapid decrease in blood volume that has a higher risk for intradialytic symptoms like cramping and/or hypotension. In this example, profile C starts to develop at approximately the 2.5-hour mark. At this point, the current reduction in blood volume exceeds 15%. This is considered a profile C. Please note the alert in yellow at the top of the screen. Change BV percentage greater than 8% per hour. This message will occur until the percent change in blood volume based on the previous 15 minutes of data percent decreases below -8% per hour. Anytime the ultrafiltration rate is minimized, you can check to see if plasma refill is present. In this example, the black intervention marker indicates that the UF was set to minimum or turned off. During the next several minutes, you see the blood volume profile has increased significantly. This means that the patient is continuing to refill into the vascular space and has more fluid to remove. To do a refill check, follow these steps. Set the UF rate to minimum, record the current hematocrit value, wait 10 minutes, then record the current hematocrit at that time. If the hematocrit has decreased by 0.5 or more during the 10 minutes, then additional fluid may be available for removal. On any of the patient treatment screens, the Markers button may be used to insert a symptom or intervention marker on the blood volume, hematocrit, or oxygen saturation graphs. Press the Symptom button to mark a yellow diamond on the graph to indicate a patient symptom at that time. Press Confirm or Cancel as appropriate. The percent change in blood volume graph will display the hematocrit and percent change in blood volume values near the symptom marker, and the oxygen saturation graph will display the oxygen saturation value near the symptom marker. Press the Intervention button to mark a black triangle on the graph to indicate that an intervention was done by the clinician at that time. Press Confirm or Cancel as appropriate. The percent change in blood volume graph will display the hematocrit and percent change in blood volume values near the intervention marker, and the oxygen saturation graph will display the oxygen saturation value near the intervention marker. Please note that the time between markers must be at least 10 minutes. More frequent events must be recorded manually. To end the monitoring, press the End Run button on the patient treatment screen, and the End Patient Run option menu will appear. Press the appropriate selection to end the run. Press the Print Report button to end monitoring and print the current treatment data. Press the Do Not Print Report button to end monitoring without printing a report. When monitoring has ended, the monitor will return to the Patient Run menu. The CritLine 4 monitor stores all patient treatment data from the previous 30 days. From the main menu, choose History to enter the History menu. Once you have entered the History menu, you can press the Run List button to see the file name of all treatments from the previous 30 days. If you would like to see one of these treatments, scroll to the treatment you would like to see and choose Select. The profiles from this treatment will then appear on the screen. If you would like to print this treatment and/or download the raw data, press the Print button. Please note that you must use the wireless radios and printer software in order to print or download raw data. The one-page printout is a treatment profile that includes hematocrit, blood volume and oxygen saturation graphs, and corresponding event markers. Treatment information contained in the area above the graphs includes date, patient name, patient and station ID numbers if it was entered prior to the treatment, starting values for hemoglobin and hematocrit, maximum hematocrit, and treatment start and end times. This concludes the video training presentation. You may revisit chapters for additional assistance anytime you feel you would like to refresh your memory. Should you have any additional questions after viewing this video, please refer to your CritLine 4 Monitor User's Guide. Thank you.